Hello there everyone, this is Mark 3 and welcome back to the big stompy robot simulator, which is MechWarrior Online. For today's walk we've got a viewer suggestion from Razul, and I managed to get enough resources together to pick up the mech, so I thought, hey, let's go ahead and build a loadout that we were talking about a few weeks back with him. This is a Raven, so, you know, the good old electronic warfare mech. And in this case, it's actually geared out in an electronic warfare fashion. Kind of. Okay, let's actually get this into here. For specifics, this is the RVN-3L variant, of course. And let's see what it's loaded with. It's got more of a hodgepodge of stuff than I would do, but this is someone else's suggestion thing, so, you know, I can't take credit for half of this stuff. Right. For the systems, we've got Artemis, and on the missiles, we've got Endosteel and Light Ferro, because I've built a more advanced version than what was suggested. So there are some of my own tweaks in here, of course. And we've got an XL195 engine powering this beast to a 90.3 kph. This is slightly slower than the engine which was intended to be in here, which is a 210, which would give it a 97. So it's lost about 8-9% of its maximum speed there, for a weight saving of 2.5 tons. Even with the Endosteel and Ferrofibrous upgrades, we still need to squeak out as much as we can wherever we can, because we are, of course, dealing with a lighter chassis. To keep the mech cool, we have the requisite 3 heat sinks in the legs, and there's a 4th heat sink in the left torso. However, all combined and all told, this only gives it a cooling rating of 1.1, so if everything is firing, this is gonna overheat pretty quick. Right. So, this is actually a 3-role vehicle, or it's envisioned with 3 general doctrines in mind. First off, it's supposed to be a electronic warfare covered scout. So of course we have got a Guardian ECM suite installed here, and we got a Beagle active probe for better sensing and tracking. We've also got the speed, which is okay for a light mech, though it is slightly less than originally intended. So that is the Scout version, though it's also intended to harass as well, and that is where the LRM-10 with Artemis comes in for long-range harassment fire. This LRM-10 with Artemis is supplied by 2 tons of ammunition, so it's got a decent supply of shots there. That's 360 missiles in total, 36 salvos. Pretty darn good. Generally, you want to aim for about 25 to 30 salvos, is what I find. Though, unfortunately, because of the split nature of this build, it is somewhat lacking in that on the other systems. Okay. Next up, it's supposed to provide a close-range warfare, like direct fire support role. So this is when it's supposed to be engaging with and around its allies in a skirmishing capability, which is like wander in, hit, wander out again. Try not to become the primary target because you're going to go boom. This Raven is relatively armoured on the torso, but it's not got any extra armour as such compared to its stock variant, so it's still going to melt pretty quickly if it starts getting shot at. In the direct fire role, it was originally intended to have a Streak SRM-2 with 1 ton of ammo, and an ER medium laser for a bit of range flexibility, while the SRM was supposed to be like a go away now kind of thing. I have modified this slightly. With the Endosteel and Light Ferro upgrade and the reduced engine tonnage, I have boosted direct fire capability. So 1 ER medium laser has become 3 ER medium lasers. I found the space for an extra heatsink, and I have an MRM-10 as the go away now please ignore me option rather than a Streak SRM-2, because that's not very powerful, a single SRM-2 with a ton of ammunition. Plus the fact you got to lock on and you don't always have a chance to when things get right up in your face. However, I must point out that the ammo situation I mentioned earlier is in play here. The MRM-10 has only got half a ton of ammunition. So it's got a full 15 salvos before it runs out and becomes useless. Still, 10 points of damage to the face is okay. It's going to help keep people away, and it's got similar range to the medium lasers as well, so I can use it over a bigger distance if I feel so inclined. For comparison, where is it? The problem with this system is the fact that we've got the Artemis installed, and the Artemis increases the bulk of the SRM systems, which would be placed in the equivalent slot. So I could have put in an SRM4 in for the same weight as the MRM10, and the SRM4 does 8.6, the MRM10 is like, you know, I think it's 10, isn't it? Yeah, 10 damage. So yeah, the MRM is just like more damage and much bigger range, while the SRM4 with Artemis would be like a tight shotgun blast. If I didn't have Artemis, I would have put in an SRM6 as the stay the hell away from me option, and a full ton of ammunition for it. But because of the Artemis system involved, which is part of the electronic warfare high technology theme that this build is supposed to follow, I decided that a low-tech MRM10 would be more useful than an SRM4 with Artemis. Yeah, there you go. And also, lastly, as part of its fire support role, it has got a AMS installed here, though sadly it's only got half a ton of ammunition. So it's got very limited AMS reserve because I was scrimping and scraping just trying to find a bit of extra cooling to keep the build from blowing itself up rather than letting the enemy do it for me. So yeah, half a ton of ammo for the AMS, which means it's going to deplete far more often than not under any kind of serious LRM fire. And the MRM has got 15 salvos left in it. And then lastly, of course, there's the third doctrine, which is the standard doctrine of the flanker. In this case, it would be moving around the enemy using your ECM and hitting them from the sides and the rear, trying to exploit their more vulnerable armor. And that's where I think this particular loadout's higher weapon payload is going to be useful, because it's got the treble ER med, it's got the MRM10 if it needs it, it's got the LRM10 as well, so it's got decent missile systems, but its primary damage dealer in that situation is going to be the lasers, because of course ER meds, it's a pinpoint burst of 15 damage every time they fire, so you know, it's going to do good. It's not something to be sneezed at, 15 points of damage like straight out. Just have to be careful of overheating, because if the missile starts coming to play or you fire the lasers too often, you're going to shut yourself down pretty quickly. Wow, I just realised that I spent like 3-4 minutes longer on the loadout than normal. Well, to be fair, it's like I was explaining the modifications in the original loadout, so yeah. Apologies, we've been in the mech lab a bit longer than usual. And with that in mind, let's actually start the walk. Roll on, match number 1. Okay, here we go. Welcome to game number 1. This is Bloomin' Frozen Wastes.
Protect this friendly.
Protect this friendly. Nah. Why would I do that? No. Yes, welcome to the Frozen Wastes. The game mode is Escort. It's not often you see this one picked anymore after it was... I mean, it's definitely gone down in popularity after its initial employment. But, you know, it is what it is, and it is what we got. Right, let's go ahead and fire. That's worth an 18%. On the bright side, this is a colder map, so it's going to slightly help on my cooling. So I can give it that. But you know, unfortunately, I don't have the AMS ammunition to protect the target, so my AMS is going to be personal. And I'm just kind of following the Shadow Cat over here just to see what the hell's going on. I'm not going to wander too far from things, so if the fight actually starts to get close and dirty, then that'll happen. But I think I'm playing roughly to the scout doctrine right now. It's like trying to figure out where the enemy is, kind of thing.
Target acquired.
It looks like someone else has found that. Oh, there's a piranha over that way. 2 kilometers away. This is why I'm not too fond of this map. It's like absolutely flipping massive. My LRMs only have 990 meter range after all. 2.2 kilometers. There's barely anything that can even reach that far. I think a spec'd up Gauss rifle is probably one of the few systems that can reach a 2 kilometer range. Then maybe an AC2 as well, but the Gauss rifle I think is the main one. Well, lighter Gauss rifles Not the heavy gauss rifle. Heavy gauss rifle like, has really bad range compared to the other ones, but you know. Let's just keep wandering around, trying to find things. If things start to get into a fight, I'll probably transition into like the flanking doctrine for this particular loadout, but yeah, there we
New
go.
target acquired.
Okay guys, they're all in around I-8 it looks like.
New target acquired.
I-8 heading towards H9.
New target
Yeah, that's a
acquired.
Kodiak over there. The problem is, I don't have enough backstab potential to go charging in and try to play backstabber. On the plus side though, they are not... Oh, they've got multiple multiple Kodiaks. Well, I think I've been spotted. Just quietly sitting... I'm not... There's no one here.
They have a UAV above us. He's heading right into him.
Oh, great. Look, yeah, I've been watching them, but I don't have any kind of
They put a
backstab
firing
potential.
line
I think
set
they've
up there.
noticed me, but I'm too far away for them to effectively engage because
Warning,
they were just looking to...
incoming
Yep,
missile.
incoming missile. They have spotted me. AMS, protect me!
Missile.
Protect me, cone!
Warning, incoming
Yeah, I'm not...
missile.
There's not much coming in, but they don't seem to like the fact there's a
Come on,
Raven
guys,
out here.
we need help up here.
Okay, right, yeah, it's starting to get into a big
New
fight.
target acquired.
Halfway
Warning,
there. Keep it
incoming
up.
missile.
Yep, incoming missile.
Warning,
I've
incoming
got to stay.
missile.
You know, I wish I actually had stealth armor. That way I couldn't be locked onto. That would be useful right about now. They really want me dead, so they're just
Warning,
spamming me with
incoming
lots and
missile.
lots of missiles right now. I'm not actually geared up as a sniper though. That would be another alternate version for this, like carry ER large lasers,
New target acquired.
and then just help to volley people down. But yeah, don't have any. I don't. That's why I don't really like to go for split builds like this. This build is
New
split 3
target
different weapon
acquired.
systems. Admittedly, the doctrines envisioned by Raz is like, in any given situation, you'll have like 2 weapons you're able to use.
The VIP mech is
In my case, I can use like the indirect fire for the LRMs right now, and I can carry. Well, I've got more direct fire options, so if I'm in a direct fire situation, I can generally use all of my direct fire weaponry at once. I'm staying the hell away right now.
New target acquired.
Can I yell? How's that? How well is that going to work? Not very. Okay, yep. Oh yeah, there's something else I need to mention as well, and that is the fact that I'm actually an energy system short compared to what Razul wanted for this loadout.
Take down that
As
UAV.
part of his support role, he wanted a
Target destroyed.
tag. Yes, I can LRM it, it's just really bad at it. He wanted a tag in my torso. The problem is I really suck at using
New
tags, so
target
you know,
acquired.
I left that out in favour of bringing more weaponry that I'm somewhat competent with, supposedly. Yeah, they're just quite happily sitting there LRMing. I need to see if I
Kodiak,
can flank.
somebody's behind you.
I need to get some inspiration to start bringing my MRMs and weaponry to... Oh, jeez.
Ignoring them.
Warning, incoming missile.
Ow! Whoa,
New
there's a
target
Kodak here.
acquired.
Ow, I do not want to be fighting that. Jeez.
Warning, incoming missile. Right torso
And
critical
honestly,
damage.
the go away now
Right
potential of the
arm
MRM is
critical
not good
damage.
enough to deal with a Kodak.
Left leg critical damage.
Yep, he's just
Warning,
like...
incoming missile.
Yep, there goes my leg.
Right leg destroyed.
And yeah, that's the problem, of course. I got caught out by a Kodak that walked around a corner and legged. Oh dear. To be fair though, I lasted a fair while, but I just got caught up in the sweep. Don't know how much longer this is going to last though.
New target
I was doing some
acquired.
scouting to start, then I tried to transition to flanking, but it was like, unfortunately I got an assault mech responded to my firepower, so it's like, yeah. A double back 5 firebrand. The heck's a firebrand? I don't recognise that mech.
Warning,
Seems to be a light.
incoming missile.
No, medium. Yeah, I think it's medium. But yeah, that's my first walk with the Raven. Okay.
Warning, incoming missile.
And that was me running around trying to scout a little bit. It worked okay, I think.
Warning, incoming missile.
Like I could have done with more extra speed, but then... Oh, the firebrand is a rifleman, it's a heavy. Ah. And yeah, we've lost this one.
This is command coming in.
Alright.
Ground forces.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing some shortcomings in how I've tweaked this design and what it is. So, yeah. Anyway, match over. We got murdered. Let us roll on to match number 2. 88. More than I was expecting in terms of damage done. Oh, I killed a UAV. I feel so proud. Yay.
Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
Fleet command coming in. Capture the target area and engage any hostiles.
Okay, here we go. Welcome to match number 2. The map is Grim Plexus. The game mode is Domination. And yes, I read that on the loading screen. I still don't know this thing off by heart. Someday I'll learn, but not today. I keep saying that. I never learn. Me no learny person. Anyway, yes. I considered like mucking around with the loadout a little bit between videos. Oh, hello. But honestly, that kind of runs contrary to what I'm trying to do with these videos, which is like I get a loadout, I may tweak it a little bit, but I was thinking of like doing some major changes to it. But you know, that's just me. So anyway, let's reflect on the build as we go. I think I'm going to try to play Doctrine number 2 here, transitioning into Doctrine number 3 if required. Honestly, Doctrine 2 is my personal doctrine, fire support. So, yeah, I gravitate towards fire support. I am a fire support style player.
Target acquired.
I'm just flat out better at fire support. There we go. Yep, and I managed to catch the Cypher with a barrage of missiles. Good. So yeah, I'm going to stay close to my heavy equipment this time. Ow! And try to provide some support. That was actually a crack shot that with those PPCs. Not bad at all.
New target acquired.
Oh, it's a New Zealand. Alright. Let's repay him for his kindness. Yep. There we go. Unfortunately, I didn't lock back on in time for the second salvo
New
to actually
target
hit.
acquired.
Yeah, well, I'm just doing long-range bombardment with my indirect fire options right now. Staying out of range, preferably.
New target acquired.
Oh, yep, yeah, I think he's shooting at me again. Zeal. Right.
New target acquired.
Okay. Now, let's be honest. I think this build is compromised when it comes to Doctrine 1, as in scouting. The problem is if you're going to scout, you want to be fast. Like, faster the better, basically. And my changes in upgunning it basically hurt it more in that regard. So I sacrificed some speed, and as a result I was using slower, so this thing's not actually that good as a scout. If you're scouting, you want like speed.
New target acquired.
So yeah, I feel like with the multiple doctrines, the multiple focuses, all the additional gear on it, this build is like pulling in several different directions at once. I think that's probably a fair thing to say about it. It's pulling in a lot of directions at once, definitely more than I'm comfortable with. I mean, there's a reason I tend to like have 1 or 2 systems on my builds. And someone was after me with an ER large laser there, I think. So, if I was going to focus on scouting, I'd get a bigger engine, more speed. And I'd get a direct fire range option, like a light PPC
Target
probably,
destroyed.
or an
New
ER
target
large.
acquired.
Light PPC would be more compact, it would just not be as powerful. So, yeah, light PPC might be an option if you're trying to maintain a split weapon system,
Target
things like that.
destroyed. LRM ammo at 25%.
And an achievement pops there, which is a little helper. I'm also running out of LRM, so I need to close in and start helping more directly. Which means I might be about to get some heat building up. Oh, hello, there's a Locust here, which is badly damaged. I think it's lost a leg. Okay, Centurion. Sure. Fire. Yep, someone's after me, so back up. And that was Doctrine 3 there, flanking. So yeah, I do think this design is like trying to pull in too many different ways at once, and that's leaving it compromised in terms of what it can do in each option. I've balanced that somewhat by the fact that I've kind of homogenized its options for direct fire. Oops. And we actually won! Okay. So yeah, since I can use the direct fire weaponry together, that's helped a little bit, but I still think it's too split. It's split too many different ways. What did I do? I did 132 damage, I got 4 assists, I got an achievement for Little Helper. Yeah, that's not too bad, not too bad, not too bad. Let's actually poke, I'm going to poke around in the mech bay for a few more minutes, so that was the last fight. If you're here just for the fighting, then I'm afraid that's it. So yeah, that's it for the fighting. But I am going to poke around in the mech lab, because there was another build I was looking at when I was slapping this thing together and seeing what I wanted to change in it. And we'll see about that. I think one of the things is that the E-War focus, of course, is also detracting from it, because it's like Artemis gives +1 slot and +1 ton to the requirements for missile systems and things like that. MOMs luckily don't have that, which is why we got an MOM-10 in the first place. But an alternate take I was looking at, since Artemis doesn't work on indirect fire, it only works if you can see the target, is I was looking at drop it to a standard targeting system, and there we go, LRM-10, take out the MRM, and I could just about find the space. Where was it? Oh yeah, take out the laser as well. So down to 2 medium lasers, but we've got a double LRM-10 as our indirect firing options. And we can pack in, without further changes, an additional ½ ton there. So now we've got a double LRM-10 LRM fire support Raven with direct fire option of ER meds. So this would again be a close range support unit more than anything else, or it can bombard from a distance with its missile launchers. So that's one option I can think of there. I mentioned a potential change out to the energy system was a light PPC. Let's have a look. Yeah, light PPC is worth 3 tons, so you could flat out replace those 3 ER meds with a light PPC, which is 5 damage at long ranges. So you'd have reduced energy DPS, but you'd have a long range option in addition to the LRM-10. And if we stay without the Artemis, of course, then we could actually mount something nasty like an SRM-6 in there and give that like a ton of ammo as well. So put that in there. SRM-6 with a ton of ammo, so that's like if you come up to me, you're going to get missiles in the face, but over distance I've got a light PPC to just bother people and harass them all the time. And the LRM-10 is still there, firing LRM ammunition and all that jazz, that kind of thing. Though actually we can take out an additional ton from that, because the light PPC is much better on the cooling side compared to the lasers. And we can find something else to do with that extra ton, like we can up the ammo supplies or things like that. So we could even go ahead and add in a 4th weapon system, like a pair of ER smalls, like that. Or maybe just swap them around like that. Just, yeah, light PPC in the torso and ER smalls in the arm, where they can both take advantage of the aiming. So you wind up with something like that. It's yeah. The problem is now we're getting really into split weaponry territory, which I personally don't like. Keep it simple, stupid. The KISS protocol. Kiss this mech, be happy with it, and make it happy, happy, happy. Now, where's that ER large I mentioned? The problem is that that's a 5-ton module, so take those out. But an ER large is, of course, very good at splashing targets because it's got the beam at a distance. So you can take that as your long-range option, and then you could do something like take out the LRMs if you were so inclined. You lose the indirect fire capability, turn this into a purely direct fire mech, but you've got some more options here. You could go with a additional ER large to boost its sniping type capabilities. Additionally, so that's a double ER large, both on the arm, so they can take advantage of the arm actuators. Though sadly, this has only got vertical actuation, not horizontal. Then you could add in some additional weapons, like you've actually got space for a pair of SRM4s, along with 1.5 tons of ammunition for it, like this. So that would be, what would it? That's 150 shots from SRM4s. So you've got a burst at point blank of like 17.2 damage. And the ER lasers are your primary weapon system. The SRMs being your secondary. So that's another optional take I could see that potentially being useful there. So it really does depend on your personal preferences. Like, I'd prefer to go with the energy system, quite honestly. And honestly, I'd also prefer to ditch the AMS. And probably the Beagle Active Probe too, if I'm not trying to use rapid locking. I'd like to keep the ECM module, but we could do things like mount a pair of if we could put in a pair of MRM-10s into this blooming thing, if we were so inclined. Or yeah, two MRM-10s is better than the MRM-20 ish. Now we could also boost this thing to standard ferro armor like that. Let's reset the mech here. There's another thing I mentioned, of course, which is the fact that it might be, I would have liked to have stealth armor during that first match. So if I swap it out to stealth armor, that gives me a 0.3 weight increase, and I am now over slotted. So I've pulled out the MRM, since that is the most discardable part of my existing loadout. Still somewhat over slot. Standard, got to refresh this, I think. No, it literally has locked in a lot of slots. That standard, end of seal. Yeah, that's just literally locking in those slots right now. I think it's because it's trying to say you've got to have this per section or something like that. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Stealth armor is a little bit odd. It occupies 12 specific slots. I think, yeah, it's because it's trying to lock on. It's trying to lock the. Yeah, it's trying to lock specific slots, but for some reason it's locking the endo steel slots as well, which is not what it's meant to do. Because the endo steel is a dynamic slot, but the stealth is not. So, put the back where it was. When I have stealth armor fitted, I've still got 4.2 tons available and 2 slots. That is the kicker though. 4.2 tons, 2 slots. I'm running into a slot issue here, which means I'd probably have to drop the endo steel if I wanted to have stealth armor. Or I could probably, yeah, I can squeeze in some ER larges on this with stealth armor as an option to just like avoid incoming missiles. It's like, ha, you can't lock onto me, ha ha ha, run, 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 and get the heck out of dodge. I've got a ton left over. 2 tons of LRM ammunition felt pretty good actually. I was spamming the missiles quite hard in that second match, just staying away. So 2 tons feeding an LRM is a decent amount of ammunition. If I put in an extra LRM-10, then it would be like I'd want to have a bit more ammunition. But if I put in the stealth, 1 ton spare. This is the 2 weapon systems. 2 tons. Yeah, I could put in some extra ammo. I can increase the AMS ammo, and I could put in a bit extra. Actually, I could take out a heatsink as well. Yeah, this looks good. 3, 4, 5, 2 tons, and if I take out the stealth so I can unlock that arm, so I've got 2 tons to play with. I could put back in that blooming Streak SRM. Honestly, the Streak SRM plays well with the Beagle Active Probe, of course, because the BAP gives you a better lock time. But a Streak SRM with half a ton of ammunition, that gives me a little bit extra to put into the armor. So I can... I can't improve my legs? Why? What's wrong with it? Has a slot violation in the left and right leg. Oh, that's why it's locking. Ah! Right, so the stealth armor is actually locking the leg slots. And that's causing issues. Well, part of what's causing issues, it's just that stealth armor is still freaking causing issues. But apparently, yeah, I didn't realize it locked up leg slots like that. Or at least I forgot. Stealth armor, there's no issues. I've got 0.2 left, so that is fine. I just need to up the armor on the legs, because apparently I can't do that while I've got stealth armor selected. Okay. That is now literally maxed out. And now we've got a stealth LRM bombardment laser sniper Raven. So this is more focused on the scouting side of it, with stealth options if it requires sneaking around. Still got its Guardian ECM, still got an AMS, still got Beagle Active Probe, and it's even regained the Streak SRM2 as a backup option for weapons, though that is by itself kind of weak. Anyway, I've been rambling too much, I think, so reset the mech back to what it was. There we go. So there was just some thoughts about random doodads you could do to this mech to change its customization further. My apologies, I seem to have overrun my time quite severely for this particular episode with all the mech lab talk, but, you know, I get like that sometimes, don't I? And half of this game is the mech lab. Got to be honest about that. So, this has been I Am Mark 3. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It's just IS chat flashing at me. And I'll see you all some other time. Catch you all later.